Hey guys, it's Shane here, Echo Soundworks, and you're checking out a production tutorial on ADSR. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can take any drum loop and transform it into a playable drum kit. I'm going to show you how to do this in both Logic and in Ableton. So this is really helpful for a lot of reasons, but I'll outline a couple scenarios that happen to me quite a bit. Maybe I'll be browsing through some loops or trying to kickstart a creative idea, and I drag a loop into my session and I start to create around that loop. Well, two things can happen, right? Maybe I start to create a beat or a track around that loop and I don't like how it actually is in certain parts. Maybe it has too few kicks or too many hi-hats or not enough snares, right? I want to be able to have access to the individual sounds of that loop. And a lot of times you don't have that, right? So you're forced to either recreate the loop, find samples that are similar, or do what we're gonna do in this video, which is a lot easier, a lot quicker. Now, another scenario where I find myself doing this quite a bit is I have a track going and I like the loop. I'm completely happy with the drum groove, whether it's a percussion loop, a hi-hat loop, whatever it might be. But maybe the section before and after it in my track has a different vibe, either emotionally or energetically, and I need to have access to those individual hits essentially so I can create a new pattern. Maybe it's something with scaled back hi-hats, or maybe it's more hi-hat rolls or no kick, right? So that's what we're gonna look at in this video. So let's dive into Logic and get started. All right, so that's a little beat I put together for this video. Now, you'll notice that the drums right here, the track I just highlighted, that's a loop, right? So this is going to underscore this idea perfect. So this happens a lot, I feel like, to a lot of producers, is they throw in a drum loop, maybe just to kickstart the creative process or, time crunch, whatever it might be. And then they ultimately might want to change something in that loop. Maybe there's too many kick hits for the 808 pattern, or maybe the snare doesn't happen enough, or, hi-hats too much, whatever it might be. Or maybe you're happy with the loop, maybe you like how it sounds and you don't care, about using loops in your music. I know I don't. And your next, the next roadblock you might run into is, what happens to the next part of the track that differs in energy? Maybe there's less energy, maybe it's more, right? You can't just keep using that loop the whole way through. And it can be hard to find samples that are similar to that loop, right? So take, for instance, bars 9 through 17, there were no drums. Right? If I want to throw in my own drum pattern, but I want it to fit together with this loop, isolating these samples or the sounds in that loop becomes very important. So let's check out how to do that now. And like I said in the intro, this is doable in pretty much any DAW, and I'm going to show you how to do it in both Logic and in Ableton in this video. So in Logic, first thing you want to do is highlight the audio, right-click, and hit Slice at Transient Markers. So what you could do is you could go to step 2, which is convert this to an EXS24 track, but there'll be lots of pops and clicks on pretty much every chop, right? Because it's a whole drum loop. There's hi-hats, there's percussion, snares, kick, right? So if it's a really open, drum pattern, or maybe it's just kick and a snare, you won't have to do this step. But what I would strongly suggest doing is highlighting this audio, go to your region inspector, fade up maybe by about, 70. And then what you're gonna do, actually, before you do that, duplicate your drum loop, your first drum loop. So you have that and it's not ever chopped or edited. So we're gonna do that. Slice at Transient Markers, and Logic's gonna do its thing. We're gonna do the region inspector, fade to maybe about 70, 60, 70 usually does it. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna bounce that in place with the fades. So there'll be less pops and clicks once it's in EXS24. So let's bounce it in place. I'm gonna hit Control B. Right, so it sounds pretty much the same. It's just a little bit glitchy at points, right? The volume drops out maybe at certain points where something happens, right, where we apply a fade. But so then you're gonna repeat that process. Slice at Transient Markers, highlight that audio again, and you're going to zoom in maybe a little bit so you can right click on a blob or a region, and then you're gonna go down to convert and convert to new sampler tracks. So we have a good amount of hits. So I'm gonna go higher than C3. We're gonna go to like C5. Start at C1, so all the samples will be mapped out for me. And we can see that here. So we're just gonna delete this audio because that audio is gonna recreate the drum loop that we already have. We don't want that, right? What we actually want is we want to create our own drum loop with those samples in this first section. All right, so here is the kit. Now, the first kick hit, a little bit of click at the end. Now, if you want to edit it, you can. You double click on it, hit either Control-0 or go to Functions and hit Fade Out. And now that click is in there. But if you had to do that for every sample, it's going to take a long time. That's why that hack I just showed you where you slice, fade, bounce, slice again is a lot more efficient, because check this out. There's a kick hit that has no click. Same with the snare, hi-hat, right? Percussion. Open hi-hat, right? So we have a lot to work with. So I'm gonna lay down a quick little groove in this intro section real quick. So I lay this little section down off camera, and this is what we have. Right? And the cool thing is it fits with the drum loop that I like later on in the beat. So let's jump over to Ableton now and see how the same idea works. All right, so I'm inside of Ableton, and the easiest way to do this in Ableton is to load up Simpler and then drag your loop into Simpler, right? So if I drag the same loop in, you guys just heard this in Logic, but here we are, there it is. So now go to Slice Mode. You can make this bigger if you want, you don't have to. We're gonna go and make sure this first one's selected as well. Just take a look around, make sure it got all the transients. It looks like it did. Then all I'm gonna do is right click, and we're gonna do Slice to New Drum Rack. So Ableton's gonna convert that Simpler track into a drum rack. Now, because Ableton Sampler doesn't suck, you don't have to fade anything out. So it's a lot easier to do in Ableton. So all the Ableton guys out there, you have a much easier road to this, to creating a drum kit from a loop, right? All you have to do is find the samples that you want. So you're off and running. Easy, easy, easy. All right, if you guys have any questions or comments, post those below. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. If you like this video and you want to see more videos like it, please hit that like and subscribe button. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm Echo Soundworks. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.